Hello and welcome to the Week 15 Games That Matter predictions. This is the Conference Championship predictions video. It's been a long season and a great season, and I'm really loving it. We've got not a lot of games, only 10 on the slate, obviously. But I'm really excited to get into these because there's so many playoff implications here. So I'm just going to jump right in at Friday's game, number 5 Utah versus number 13 Oregon in the Pac-12 championship game. Now this is Oregon's, I believe, third or fourth visit in the last 5 years or so. Don't quote me on that, but Oregon's been here a few times. They're looking to capitalize and get another Pac-12 championship here. But Utah is playing for a bit more. Utah is looking for their first conference championship since joining the Pac-12, as well as their first trip to the playoffs. I'm picking Utah here. I think Utah has a chance to win this game, and if they do, they will put themselves in a good position to potentially make the playoffs as a one-loss conference champion. On to the next game. We have number 7 Baylor versus number 6 Oklahoma. This is the Big 12 championship game, and it's gonna be a great one. I think Baylor's gonna be out for blood after having a 28-3 lead over Oklahoma in the regular season. Coming into this game, they're gonna be out for blood. They're gonna come hard and come fast and try to make Oklahoma pay, and they're not gonna let up. However, I think Oklahoma finally woke up in their game against Oklahoma State last week. And I think they're not going to be the same Oklahoma team that Baylor played. I'm picking Oklahoma to win the Big 12 championship game and put themselves in a position where they may be able to push past Utah in here and make the playoffs. Now, several things are going in Oklahoma's favor here. If things fall the right way, Oklahoma may get the nod over Utah for a couple of reasons. They've been to the last two as the one-loss Big 12 champion, and they'll have a win against number 7 Baylor. They'll have been the only team to have beaten Baylor. Yes, Baylor would be an 11-2 team, but those two would be to Oklahoma. So I think that would give them the nod. However, one thing that could be held against Oklahoma is the fact that they have made the playoffs the last 2 years, and they have been out in the first round the last 2 years. I don't think that will get held against them as much this year. I think Oklahoma has a good shot. If they win the Big 12, things fall their way, they may make it to the playoffs. Next is Miami of Ohio versus Central Michigan for the MAC championship. Miami of Ohio has had a great season. I did not expect them at all. However, Central Michigan seems to be playing more solidly recently. I'm going to go with Central Michigan to win the MAC this year. Next is Louisiana versus number 21 Appalachian State for the Sun Belt Conference Championship. I'm picking Appalachian State at home, however, do not expect Louisiana to roll over and die for them. Appalachian State will have to earn every inch of this game, and it's going to be a fun one to watch. However, I think this puts Appalachian State in a good position right now. All things considered, if they win this, they go to 12-1, and there's potential they could end up one of the higher ranked non-Power 5s. Depending on how games go, they might even be the one that makes the BCS Bowl. UAB versus Florida Atlantic for the Conference USA Championship. So University of Alabama Birmingham has been on fire ever since they came back. And here they are in their conference championship looking to win it, but I don't think they will. I think Lane Kiffin gets FAU in position to win the conference here and get themselves that little oomph to end the season and maybe a little bit better bowl game for them. Next is number 20 Cincinnati versus number 17 Memphis for the AAC championship. Now, this is one that's a rematch of last week's game. This is, I believe, the second season in a row where we've had this happen, where our conference championship has been not just been a rematch, but a rematch of a game from the previous week. And I think it's going to be a repeat result. I think Memphis is going to win the AAC, which would put Memphis as a 12-1 team, put them in the position to be the non-Power 5 team, highest ranked, that would get the nod for the BCS Bowl. And next, the one a lot of people are going to be paying attention to, number 4 Georgia versus number 2 LSU for the SEC championship game. Now, the SEC title is right now, as the current conferences are, pretty much a pre-playoff playoff. However, this year there is a result that could potentially mean both teams from the conference playoffs from the conference championship would make the playoffs. That would be if Georgia beats LSU in a close game. If Georgia beats LSU in a close game, Georgia could come out. Georgia would be in. They'd be the winner of the SEC, and one loss, they'd be in. However, LSU would be a one-loss team, and their only loss would be to Georgia in a really close game. They might sneak in at the number 4 spot. We don't know. It could be interesting. That being said, I'm picking LSU to win this game. I feel like LSU's offense is just... I'm impressed because the biggest detriment they had last year, in my opinion, was that offense. They had a solid defense who could win them games if their offense would just put up points. Well, now their offense is putting up points, and the defense is playing great. I feel like LSU is going to win this conference championship and go to the playoffs. Next is Hawaii versus number 19 Boise State for the Mountain West Conference Championship. I am picking Boise State to win this one at home. Now, I picked Hawaii to be in this game. I don't remember if I picked Boise State at the beginning of the season to be in this game. However, I'm picking Boise State to win it. I think Boise State finishes the season 12-1 then as conference champion, and pretty much the closest to Memphis right now in terms of potentially getting that BCS Bowl. So it'd be interesting to see what the committee thinks of both of their schedules. Next would be number 23 Virginia versus number 3 Clemson for the ACC championship game. There's a lot on the line for Clemson here, as one of the few ranked games they've had all season, where their opponent is ranked, I mean. So it's going to be a point for them to try and prove themselves, and they will, I believe. I believe Clemson is going to win this game, keep their undefeated season alive, and make the playoffs. After that, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I've got Clemson winning this game, though, and moving on. I think Virginia will give them troubles early, but I just feel like Clemson's offense will pull ahead late in the game, in the second half. And last, but certainly not least, is number 1 Ohio State versus number 8 Wisconsin. It's a rematch. And again, as a rematch, I'm picking the way it went in the regular season. Um, I'm picking Ohio State to win this game. I think Wisconsin will give them a lot more troubles this time around. But I feel like Wisconsin's just not got enough there. They rely too heavily on a one-dimensional offense, and I think Ohio State's going to exploit that and keep their undefeated season alive and look to make the playoffs as the big undefeated Big Ten champion. So that is it for the predictions for this week. I'm really, really excited to see how this goes. There's a lot on the line for a lot of these teams, specifically Ohio State, Clemson, Oklahoma, Baylor, Utah, LSU, Georgia. All of them have playoff hopes. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Also interesting to note that 3 conferences have a top 10 matchup in their championship game. Those 3 conferences are the Big 12, the Big 10, and the SEC. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Who do you think's going to win their conference, and who do you think makes the playoffs? If you like what I'm doing, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And I'll see you guys after the weekend for the Week 15 Conference Champion Recap.